Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today I have another really good story for you all. So let's go ahead and get right into it. In the summer of 1973, a 10-year-old girl by the name of Debbie was spending time at her grandmother's farm in rural Illinois, and her father was died in a car accident, but her mother survived in it. Debbie had been having some problems lately, and she seemed to be acting different than normal. She would sometimes even wake up in the middle of the night screaming, "Get out, get out," when her mom picked her up from her grandmother's house. She noticed that her daughter was very dirty. There was mud on her clothes and her hair, and she had scratches all over her legs and arms. But the mother knew that wasn't true. Her daughter wouldn't be that dirty as she had just been playing outside. The mother tried asking Debbie more questions about what happened at her grandmother's house, but her daughter just kept saying that she didn't know what she was talking about. The next morning, Debbie woke up with scratches on her hands and legs. Her mom took her to the doctor to get checked out, but the doctor couldn't find anything wrong with her. He said that the scratches weren't fresh, and he was pretty sure that she had done them to herself. Debbie's mom knew that her daughter would never hurt herself on purpose. She could tell by the way she had been looking at her the past couple days that something was seriously wrong. Her daughter's eyes were bleeding. Sometimes she would stare off into space like she wasn't even there. A few days after visiting the doctor, Debbie started speaking in a completely different voice. It sounded very deep and raspy. She also started speaking in a different language that her mom didn't recognize. Debbie's mom took her to the local priest at their church and asked him to do an exorcism. The priest agreed, and he began performing the ritual over Debbie. At first, everything seemed to be going well. The ceremony lasted about 20 minutes, and afterward, Debbie seemed to be back to normal. Her mom felt like she was finally going to get her daughter back, but that wasn't the case. Just one day later, Debbie started speaking in the strange voice again. She also started levitating around the house. On one occasion, her mom walked into the kitchen and saw her floating above the table. At one point, Debbie even floated all the way up to the ceiling. Her mom screamed for help, but nobody was home except for Debbie and her. She managed to snap her daughter out of it somehow, but she knew that she needed professional help. So she called the police. When the officers arrived, they found Debbie levitating above her bed. They tried to keep her under control, but she broke free and ran away. The police searched for her for hours, but they couldn't find her anywhere. The only place that she could have possibly gone was the woods behind their house, but when they searched there, she was nowhere to be found. Her mom was devastated. She had no idea where her daughter went or if she would ever see her again. She contacted the priest that performed the exorcism. All he said was that he was sorry and that he would pray for her. A week passed and still there was no sign of Debbie. Her mom had lost all hope of finding her alive. She assumed that maybe she did run away and was living somewhere on her own. Then one night, Debbie showed up at the house of one of the priests that had been performing the exorcisms on her. She looked the same as she did when she disappeared, as if she had never been gone. He invited her in, and she sat down on a chair. He wasn't expecting her to show up at his door, especially not after a week of being missing. Then he took her home. Her mother was overjoyed to see her, but she was confused as to why she would leave like that in the first place. Debbie said nothing. She just hugged her mom and told her that she was sorry. For a while, everything seemed to be fine. Debbie was back to her normal self, and her mother thought that the worst was over. But that wasn't the case. One night, Debbie's mom heard her daughter screaming in her room. She rushed to her door and opened it. Inside, she found Debbie sitting on her floor. Her eyes were wide, and she was breathing very heavily. Her mom tried to calm her down, but she just kept screaming. Then suddenly she stopped. She looked up at her mom and said, "It's not me. It's the devil inside of me." Her mom was terrified. She didn't know what to do. She knew that she needed to get help, but she didn't know where to turn. That's when she reached out to the two priests once again. They both arrived at the house and they began performing an exorcism over Debbie. But this time it was much harder to get the demon out of her. She levitated all around the room. She even flew straight through the window, but they managed to keep hold of her long enough to finish the ritual. Just as they were about to be successful, though the demon inside of her broke free, it possessed the priest instead. Now they had to perform the exorcism on the priest. He screamed and yelled at them as they tried to remove the demon, but they didn't care. They had to do whatever they could to save him. After a few hours, they finally managed to remove the demon from the priest. He collapsed on the ground, weak and exhausted, but he survived. Debbie's mom thanked the priests for saving her daughter and saving the priest. She watched as they drove away, knowing that she would never forget what they have done for her. Finally, Debbie was free from the devil's grasp. Her mom hugged her tight, tears of joy streaming down her face. She couldn't believe that her daughter was finally free. Debbie lived a normal life after this, and she grew up to be a happy and healthy young woman. Her mom never forgot the two priests who saved her daughter, and she often prayed that God would bless them for what they did. So guys, if you like this story, don't forget to press the bell icon.